Welcome to the Infogram DataViz Workshop Series, a collection of instructional pieces that show you how to turn your numbers into charts. I'll guide you through best practices with plenty of helpful tips along the way. If you have a lot of data and you want to compare them against two different variables, for example, if you have a science experiment, you've got a lot of measurements, you need some way to visualize this data so you can see if there's a relationship between the two variables. Today I'm going to show you a couple of ways to visualize your data: scatter and bubble chart. Let's take the simplest example, comparing height and weight. Using a visualization, we'll attempt to determine if heavier people are also taller. Let's take a sample of 100 people's weight, plot this against the x-axis versus their height plotted on the y-axis. With all 100 measurements plotted, we start to see that they correlate roughly in a pattern that shows indeed, yes, when an individual is taller, they tend to weigh more. Obviously, this is not a straight line. With a scatter plot, you accurately place all data points, then extrapolate your findings using the line of best fit or trend line. Determining correlation is a skill. Correlations are often linear, positive or negative, exponential, or centralized around a particular value. It can also be more complex, covering only particular spans in the variables. There's also a chance you won't find any correlation. Use as much data as possible. The more data you have, the more accurate your perceived trend will be. Don't ignore outliers. If you find one or more variables far outside of your average range, investigate whether they might have been recorded incorrectly or could be providing a clue that the trend is something less straightforward. With the last example, we used only one color. If you group your points into separate categories, they can be color-coded to make them easy to read, a different color for each category. Let's make two categories here, male and female. As you can see, this makes it possible to compare several categories on the same chart. Bubble is similar to scatter but unique in its own right. You're still comparing two variables to discover trends, but bubble adds a third dimension, size. Let's look at our height versus weight scatter plot and add a third dimension, for example, age. The larger the bubble, the older the person's age. Roll your mouse over different bubbles to see more information. You can apply scatter and bubble charts to many different areas. The main criteria is that you've got a lot of data and you need to compare them against two variables, or in bubble you can add the third variable. It's really easy to drop a large amount of data into our tool, and we'll help you visualize it beautifully and help you analyze your results. With Infogram's beautiful template styles and predefined color schemes, you only need to plug in your data and presto, publish it for web sharing and download. If you have any questions, reach out to our assistants and one of our data visualization experts will be happy to answer. Make sure to check out the other videos in our series.